Green light. Go, go, go.
Hey, all you camels and alpacas. I'm Dale Robin Jr. III, and this is Slow to Pro, a YouTube series where I go from slow to what feels like slower, but I'm actually just up early in the morning going against a bunch of Europeans. So we're either dealing with a situation where they're putting performance-enhancing drugs in the water, or a new branch of the human species has evolved, because these guys are fast. Today's race is in a public lobby at Nurburgring. Safety rating for this server was 80, so I was expecting to see some careful driving and some smart moves. That's pretty much what we got. There's a couple of incidents during the race, but no real Days of Thunder moments, which I'm going to be honest was upsetting. There's nothing I love more than a bunch of close calls and big wrecks. I really need a good NASCAR sim to come around. I don't like NASCAR, but I do like crashing. Right up here, I thought the BMW was going to dive the inside into braking, so I stayed wide. We were able to just barely get clear of him before he ran his nose out wide. That could have been bad for me. But the good thing about it is that they are now too wide behind me, which should open up a gap and allow me to focus on the race in front of me. And while we wait for some action, I want to tell you guys about Zealous Racing League. They're going to be starting a new season on the week of January 16th, probably on Tuesday. It's slated to be a mixed class, so GT4 cars are welcome, as are GT3, as are people of all paces. As long as you're a sensible person, you'll be welcomed just as I was. Signups are open now, and you'll find a link to the Discord in the description below. Also, subscribe and click like. I love you. As of this moment, we are sitting in 17th out of 28, and I tried switching back to the Ferrari before this race, but could barely keep it on the circuit for an entire lap. And then when I did, it was like 3 seconds slower than my already slow pace. But sometimes, you know, you got to take a step back to take a step forward. And in my case, it's a lot of steps back and maybe one step forward. But the problem isn't the car. The problem is between the seat and the steering wheel. As we hit the final turn of lap 1, the red Porsche gets on the brakes a little too late and runs a bit deep into the turn, which opens up a garage door size window for Blue to get through and causes him to be slow enough on exit for us to make a pass here on the straight. So we're able to get right up alongside and clear and make it stick before ever getting to turn 1. So that's beneficial. We're in P15 at the moment. 17 minus 1. I checked the math. It is 16, but we're in P15, so I guess somebody in front of us crashed. Woohoo! Following this, Blue ends up running away from me, so let's jump to the next bit of action. One lap later in the final turn, Red McLaren runs a bit slow, Ferrari makes a pass, Red McLaren has a poor exit. We're able to not only close the gap, but get up alongside. And now I know I need to brake earlier than normal, because I'm not on the race line, but I ended up braking way early. And then I go ahead and proceed to take a little too much curb, which upsets the car and allows the Porsche behind us to swing right up the inside for a pretty easy move that I'm not trying too hard to defend, quite honestly, because I'm still trying to get this car under control. After that pass, the Porsche ends up building a big gap until he starts to jockey for his next pass, so let's go ahead and skip to the action. So here we come down the straight and we're headed into turn 1, and I double checked the replay. The Porsche dive bombed. He never made it alongside pretty much until he was hitting the Ferrari. A dirty move. Shame on you. Shame. But I also have to thank him, because his dirty tactics have pulled this Ferrari to within our grasp, and I am reaching. My arms are fully extended, my fingertips are tingling, and like a feral cat, I'm just trying to hook my claws in. Also, like a feral cat, if you just stay really calm, I'm not that much of a threat. But lucky for us, there's no way this guy is calm. He just got dive bombed and now he's got someone else on his bumper. This guy's mental state has to be worse than mine was when Sheila left me. So we're just trying to keep it tight and tidy. This Ferrari was part of the group that ran away from me earlier, so I know he has the pace to beat me, but I also know that he's one mistake away from getting beat by me, and I'm one mistake away from losing him. This is what I love about sim racing. The risk versus reward scenes that play out. Admittedly, I'm not one for big risks in racing, so the biggest risk I usually take is just getting too close to the guy in front of me. And compared to that Porsche earlier that took the risk of sticking his car into the Ferrari's door, it seems like my idea of risk is closer on the spectrum of risk to just not racing at all. I just said the word risk so many times that it's just a sound now, not a word. Risk. This Ferrari has really been struggling to get back to his pace since the contact in turn 1, and we are now directly behind him in the draft and closing quickly. As we come up to the next chicane, this is my big risk. I'm right on his bumper and we brake almost simultaneously. I braked just a hair before him. Had a bad line, but he had a worse line and almost made contact with my rear. We missed him by about 1.5 feet. So we're halfway through the race and halfway through the grid, sitting in P14, but that doesn't stick. Let's jump ahead. It looks like 2 more people in front of us have wrecked, so we're in P12 now. I had been slowly closing the gap to this red McLaren, and I thought I could push a little harder than I actually could. Ended up with a little bit of oversteer and a whole lot of overcorrecting, and we find ourselves out in the marbles. Luckily, there's not a ton of traffic behind us, and we're able to swing the car around and rejoin fairly quickly. But that really popped the balloons at my birthday party. On the upside, we got 2 positions in front of us if we can just remove our head from our ass and focus. These guys are entrenched in a side-by-side battle, which is slowing them down enough for me to close the gap fairly quickly. And if you know me, you know I'm hoping to see a wreck, and I want it to be on the track, and I want to weave through it. Blue gets a better exit than green, and then green just shoots to the outside of the track, and I'm going to shove my car right into that gap. I usually double apex here, but that's not going to happen with this guy on the outside, and we're able to make it stick. Following that pass, we were able to maintain the gap to the blue car in front of us and build a gap to the green car behind us, until the last lap where I made a mistake in the Schumacher S. I was pretty desperate here to try and catch blue. I didn't ease off the throttle enough and then just decided to commit to the sand. But we've lost a ton of speed and the green car is closing that gap very quickly. And the cherry on top is our dirty sand-covered tires. So not only has green closed the gap, he's got way more speed than I do through this last turn here. So he's going to get a much better exit and he's going to be able to get the pass and make it stick. Coming up here into the final chicane, I wanted to think that I was going to dive bomb, but I wasn't. I missed my braking point, ran into the sand. He got his brakes and they took him right into the grass. That's a good outcome for me. We're able to cross the line in P16. Not the best result, but this was a pretty quick lobby, and I was able to set a new personal best, so I'm pretty happy with the result. That's all for today. Thank you for watching Slow to Pro. I'm Dale Robin Jr. III, and you guys have the kind of day you want to have.